Where are you reading this story from? I love knowing where these words find you. Drop your location below, and thank you for being here. In Portland, rain doesn't just fall, it murmurs, weaving through cedar branches, darkening porch beams, and turning streets into mirrors. On a late October evening, Emily Anderson sat at her worn kitchen table on Northeast Garfield Avenue, grading essays under a flickering light. The table's maple surface bore a faded square where a photo frame once stood, now hidden upstairs, wrapped in a towel, its image too heavy to face. Across the street, the playground swings creaked faintly in the wind, carrying the scent of wet bark. At 9:17 p.m., 3 sharp knocks broke the silence. Emily froze, kettle in hand. 12 years had taught her not to rush to the door. Another knock, deliberate, steady. She glanced outside. No car, just rain pooling under the porch light. Hesitant, she unlatched the safety chain and opened the door. A young man stood there, rain beading on his jacket, his posture cautious as if trying to shrink. His eyes, the color of winter rivers, met hers. In his hand, a dulled metal whistle hung from a navy lanyard. "Mrs. Anderson?" His voice was low, almost formal, but it pressed against her chest like a hand. He held out the whistle. "You gave me this. Said to blow it if I was scared at the playground." A scar curved through his right eyebrow, thin and pale. Emily gripped the doorframe as memories folded into one. A boy in a red windbreaker, 7 years old, laughing under an October sun, then gone, leaving only silence and that whistle in the sand. "What's your name?" she asked, her voice catching. He looked past her to the hallway, where family photos climbed the stairs. "It used to be Daniel. Daniel Anderson. 12 years earlier, Daniel vanished from that playground. No screams, no witnesses, just a whistle in the sand." Emily had taped flyers to poles until they curled, followed leads from Montana to Salem, and kept a tiny red windbreaker on the coat rack, its hood dangling like a question. The police had searched, taped off the slide, replaced the mulch, but the swing's creak never changed, a sound that haunted her. Now Daniel stood in her doorway, 19, tall but hesitant, his thrift store jacket frayed, his left shoe scuffed like he still dragged his feet. Emily poured chamomile tea, her hands needing purpose. "You liked it with honey when you were little," she said, wincing at her own teacherly tone. He nodded, steam clouding his face. "Where have you been?" she asked softly. "Mostly Idaho," he said, eyes scanning exits like hers once did. "Eastern Washington sometimes, different names, schools, never long." A callus marked his thumb. Work, not play. She remembered another callus, from bike handles he'd gripped to chase puddles. "You're safe here," she said. He nodded, but it felt rehearsed, like a gesture learned from watching others. "I didn't come for money," he added quickly. "Something changed." He traced the mug's rim. "He started forgetting things, names, towns. Left a note on the fridge and didn't come back till morning. I searched your name at a library. Didn't know if Anderson was still yours." "It is," Emily said, her gaze following his to the photos. She didn't say she kept the name to hold on to him. "Your dad, he's in Eugene now. We didn't agree on how to keep looking." Daniel's face flickered, almost smiling. "He taught me the word Eugene. I thought it was a person." Silence settled, careful, not cruel. The house smelled of tea and wet wool. Daniel touched his scar. "Monkey bars," he said before she asked. "I slipped trying to reach the high one. You put a rocket Band-Aid on it, said I was brave, but to ask for help next time." The memory hit like a projector slide clicking into place. Emily's breath escaped in a small sound. "I didn't know what I was allowed to remember," Daniel said. He told me it was safer to start over, said you asked him to take me, to keep me safe. Emily's world tilted. Who told you that? Richard, he whispered. That night, Emily lay awake listening for Daniel's breathing, a rhythm absent for 12 years. At 3:07 p.m., the refrigerator hummed and the back porch creaked. Through the kitchen window, she saw Daniel in the rain, staring at the playground swing motionless as it swayed. Morning brought neighbors. Mrs. Delgado arrived with a pie, eyes full of unasked questions. The mailman lingered. By noon, the local paper called. By 3 p.m., Detective Karen Lewis stood at Emily's door, her face etched with years but her tone sharp. She studied Daniel, noting the scar from her old case file. He said, "You gave me this," Daniel muttered, placing the whistle on the table. "Said you didn't want me anymore." Karen's pen slowed. She'd lost a daughter once most, maybe why she never retired. "Did Richard Evans ever hurt you?" she asked. Daniel tapped his foot 3 times, then stopped. "Not at first," he said. Emily fetched linens and a shoebox of old flyers spilled. Daniel picked one up, a tip from Boise, 2014. "We were there," he whispered. "I remember the diner's red star sign. He said they burned the fries." Karen leaned in. "If he remembers locations, those sightings weren't random. They were real." Later, Emily noticed Daniel's clothes folded with eerie precision, not like the boy she raised. "He said order keeps you invisible," Daniel explained. Then, in the bathroom, condensation on the mirror revealed 3 words: "Ask about the basement." The handwriting wasn't Daniel's, too deliberate, chilling her. Karen returned with a frayed folder, photos of the taped-off playground, Richard Evans in flannel behind police lines. Emily whispered about the mirror's message. Daniel tensed. "He said the basement had black mold. I heard noises sometimes." "We'll get a warrant," Karen said. Daniel walked alone that evening, pausing at Richard's old house, now repainted, its basement windows bricked over. "That's where he kept the shoebox, with photos," he murmured. 2 days later, Karen's team entered the basement with ground-penetrating radar. Behind a false wall, a rusted trunk held envelopes labeled by city and year: Boise, Spokane, Helena. Each contained a Polaroid of Daniel, unsmiling, the whistle ever present, proof Richard had cataloged his theft of time. "He made me stand still, said it was for my record," he said, trembling. Karen's anger broke through. He stalked him, kept trophies. Then Daniel spotted an envelope labeled Portland. Inside, a Polaroid of Emily at her mailbox, unaware, her hair caught in the wind. On the back, in Richard's handwriting, "She will forget." "He wasn't just keeping me," Daniel said. "He was waiting for you." The photo of Emily rewrote the case. Karen spread the Polaroids across the table, Daniel's stolen years staring back. The image of Emily, marked as next, stole the air. Daniel's voice was flat. He said everyone disappears, that I should be grateful mine was quick. "Did he mention your father?" Karen asked. Daniel's face tightened. He said Dad owed him, that he was doing him a favor. When I asked, he called it grown-up business. Emily's hands shook. "Michael," she whispered. She called him and Eugene. His voice carried old guilt. "I thought we buried this," he said. "No," Emily replied. "You did." Michael arrived 2 days later, aged and heavy. Seeing Daniel, he gasped, "You're alive." Daniel's gaze was unreadable. "Did you give me away?" The room stilled. Michael's shoulders sagged. "I didn't know he'd keep you," he said. "I owed him money, stupid debts. He said he'd take you briefly, make it look like a scare, just until I paid. I thought it would be days." Emily's voice broke. "You let him vanish our son?" "I was desperate," he said. "Then he didn't bring you back. I thought there was nothing left to save." Daniel's words cut sharper. "You chose your debt over me." Karen closed her notebook. "This isn't just kidnapping, it's conspiracy. One parent knew, one neighbor executed, and a boy paid the price." Daniel stood in the doorway, his eyes wet but sharp. "You were the reason I never came home," he told Michael. Emily's voice cracked. "You handed him over!" Michael sobbed, incapable of meeting their gazes. "I thought I'd fix it." Daniel gripped the whistle. "This was all I had to remind me I belonged." To Michael, he whispered, "You traded me." Karen stepped in. "Richard will never touch another child. Michael, the courts will name your crime." To Emily, Daniel said, "Don't let me lose what's left." She touched his hand, a fragile connection across 12 years. Weeks later, the house became a sanctuary. Daniel walked the neighborhood, relearning its cracks and hedges. Neighbors stared, reporters hovered, but inside, truth lightened the air. One evening, Emily found Daniel on the porch, the whistle in his fingers, sunset burning the sky. "Do you wish it hadn't happened?" she asked. "Every day," he said. "But it showed me how strong I am and how much you loved me, never stopping." "I always believed you were out there," Emily said. He nodded, "and I always wanted to come home." The trial brought noise, but Daniel attended sparingly, choosing life over punishment. Karen's words stayed with him. "Your past is evidence, not your sentence." On a spring Saturday, he and Emily crossed to the playground. Kids swarmed, swings creaked. Daniel sat, touched the chain, and pumped his legs slowly. The whistle pressed against his chest. He blew it, the sound thin but clear. Kids turned, parents looked, Emily's eyes welled. 12 years ago, that whistle was a plea. Now it was a claim. "I am here. I was the boy who disappeared, but I'm the man who was found."